We are back with another great interview for you guys. Today, we have a great young wing out of Ontario, Canada, but right now the Phelps School out in Pennsylvania. We got Will Riley. Appreciate you coming on, man. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Chilling. Off school, hanging out, having a good time. So, are you guys out of school or do you still got a couple weeks left?
We got like a day left. This is my last day, second
Oh,
last day.
you got finals?
Yeah.
You're doing an interview instead of studying for finals. I appreciate it even more. Um, let's get right into it. You stuck out a lot, so far throughout the EYBL. That's what caught my eye to you. You're fourth in scoring, which we'll get into in a little bit. This year though, talk to me through before we get into the season. Talk to me through your decision to go from Ontario, being somewhere you're comfortable in, to transferring not just to another school, but to a different country, being in Pennsylvania now. Talk to me through the process of why you decided to come out to the US.
The US, like there's a lot. I'm sure you know, but there's a lot more exposure and like a lot more opportunities in the US for basketball than there is in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot more looks out here. It obviously paid off. But if I stayed in Canada, I feel like I wouldn't get the same exposure. And the Phelps School gave me a good opportunity to play my game and do what I want to do and do what I need to do to get to the next level. And yeah, so I feel like it was just a good move for me.
Was it a hard thing to do? You're just about to be done your sophomore year. Was it hard to leave family? I can see it's like a boarding school, clearly. So you're kind of
Yeah,
out on your own. It's not a family move, but has it been tough
yeah,
for you being able to adjust now being in high school, pretty much by yourself?
yeah, absolutely. Leaving family is never easy, but yeah, it's something I had to do. Like I have goals for basketball, and like that's what I have to do to achieve my goals. So yeah, like yeah, leaving family's hard, friends, everybody. But yeah, but at the end of the day, it's all gonna be worth it. So that's why I do it.
It's so interesting. I'm sure you can attest to this too. I had cousins that did this. Hockey in Canada, of course, is a massive thing, and billet families and stuff were a part of it too. Kids who get drafted into junior hockey leagues and stay in the middle of nowhere, Canada, not Ontario or BC, or they're in like nowhere, Manitoba, with some weird family, and they're leaving their family. At least you're in the US. It's
Yeah.
probably a little bit better than Ontario, but I got your guys' schedule up here. 9 and 10 on the year. You played a couple tough teams. I saw the Patrick School you guys played against. Um, but talk me through this too. What is the basketball competitiveness wise like up in that northeast side of the country?
I mean, it's really good, but it's the only thing I'm used to. I haven't really got to discover anywhere else, for high school basketball. But yeah, it seems really good to me. You know what I mean? Like a lot going on. There's a lot of big guys. You know what I mean? It just seems really good, and yeah. But
What were some things you saw your team growing, throughout the year? I know probably the schedule, when you hear that record, probably not something you're proud of and want to build upon. But when you see what you guys were able to accomplish, the teams you guys were able to beat, what were some things you saw your team growing that you guys can hopefully build upon starting next year?
just chemistry. You know what I mean? We are basically a whole new team compared to last year. There was like I think three of the same guys from last year. You know what I
Wow.
mean? So we had a whole new team. We got to build chemistry. You know what I mean? So by the end of it, we got a little bit we got like on a run at the end of it. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're just chemistry. Building relationships and finding out each other's style of play. You know what I mean? And working with each other. So yeah, by next year, I feel like we'll improve a lot more. Because a lot of the guys are staying, and we're a very young team. Like we are all like our half of our starting lineup was sophomores. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
yeah.
What is it like, for you especially, coming from Kitchener, which is a very small town, I know in Ontario. I know it's a little bit out. I'm from Vancouver, which is more like, I guess you could say a big city, but the suburbs in it. Going from that type of basketball, where, like you said, you probably weren't going to get the most exposure to now what you were able to do this year and what you've been able to do in the EYBL. I know you just signed for NL representation as well, which we'll get into as well. Um, that jump to I'm sure competitive wise, was that a big shock to you seeing like, oh, like you probably went from being like the guy to now you're just like, there's 8 other dudes just like me out here that have no offers, and I have 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's a big jump, but I was prepared for it at the end of the day, because I knew I wasn't just gonna be able to come here and just be the best guy, out there, just
Right.
take over. I mean, I knew it was coming at the end of the day. So yeah, it was a big jump, but it wasn't nothing I wasn't prepared for. So yeah.
What things did you focus on most throughout the year? If that's your athleticism, ball handling, your defensive side of the ball too, that you were able to continue to make jumps and get those schools to notice you.
Yeah, it was just like to get my versatility right, you know what I mean? So I started off playing like a three, and then I feel like I adjusted to become like a two, even maybe a one sometimes. I can handle the ball a lot better than I came, use my left hand a lot better than when I came. Like when I came here, I felt like I had like no left hand, and now I can attack to my left every time I want. So yeah, I made a big adjustment in that way. So yeah,
Being what, 6'9" right now, 6'8",
6'9".
you're kind of in that hybrid wing of like the next, like this is kind of what the next generation of guys are like, is just freaky versatile, able to guard 1 through 4. You're able to pretty much do everything a coach wants. What were some things, the coaching staff and the people and your teammates around you kind of held that, a standard to you, I guess, or that expectation? And how are you able to keep being that leader and that go-to guy for your team?
I mean, like they put me to a high standard in that, but I feel like I held it pretty well, and yeah, coming in at like 6'9" or whatever, like it is like the quote unquote modern day thing, but I feel like you know I could be just as good as like a guard that's little, you know what I mean? I could do
Mm-hmm.
everything. So yeah, but it comes with advantages too. Like on the defensive side, like I can guard 1 through 4, 1 through 5, if that. So yeah, so it's about.
Is there anybody else from Canada on this team, or are you the only Canadian?
There is another guy from Canada, and there's another guy coming. There's 2 guys.
Oh,
One guy,
okay.
another guy coming.
Being from Canada, you've been able to be a part of kind of this new generation, this next generation, I guess you can say, of hoopers coming from the north. It's you, it's Jayon Pitt, I think, who plays at Dream City out here. It's been
Yeah,
Shaden, it's been a lot of guys.
yeah.
But a lot of them coming from the north have been able to make noise on all levels of basketball. How do you hope to continue to show why Canada is starting to become a hotbed for basketball talent?
I just want to show that like we're underlooked. You know what I mean? Like I'm hoping that like players can start staying in Canada instead of having to move here, like to get
Mm.
exposed. That's like the goal for Canada basketball at the end of the day. Like we should be able to just stay there and get as much exposure as we do here. So, but yeah, that's the goal.
Is it crazy to see how many guys are coming out? Because I think you look at, especially guys in the league right now, what Jamal's been able to do, what Shea, um, even his cousin, I think Nikhil Alexander Walker, who plays for, I think he's on Minnesota. There's a bunch of guys. You're able to see that. You've been able to see guys in the past, of course, Dylan Brooks, Olynyk, Dwight Powell. Those are kind of the guys that came before. But when you see guys in the league, especially Shaden too, who just of course played out here, was a high lottery pick. When you see guys like that, um, how much motivation does that give you to see that it is possible to make it from, a small town like Kitchener, Ontario, and seeing it, being performed on the biggest level of them all?
It gives me a lot of motivation. It was hard for like probably like the first, like I'd say like Steve Nash. It was probably very hard for him. Like he was probably the first Canadian to come out, and he did what he did. You know what I mean? He started it all for us. So yeah, it gives me a lot of motivation. Especially like I come from Kitchener. Jamal Murray comes from Kitchener. We went to like the
Mm,
same high school type stuff. So it gives me a lot of motivation. Like I know they can get there. So like, why can't I? You know what I mean? Shaden, he played for you play. I play for you play. Shay, he played for you play. Like it just, yeah, it gives me a lot of motivation.
yeah, absolutely. Let's get into that. Before we talk about the scoring and what you've been able to do this season, was you play always the club team you've played with, or was it kind of a jump you made like recently in your basketball career?
Nah, I've always been with you play for summer basketball.
Okay. How much of a I guess you can say a blessing is it that, because when I was growing up, at least in Vancouver, you probably might know, we had like drive basketball
Mhm.
and that was about it. And that was like the top club team. I played for my own club team when at the school I went to. But now you have you play, which is like probably the biggest club team in the country. Being able to play on this team and perform the way you are, how much confidence does it give you that there's, it's not just you coming out of Canada. There's even more guys just as talented as you on this team on the 17s, on the 15s. And your guys are kind of all just putting it out there for the North.
It's a lot of confidence. You know what I mean? Like we're put in like we're the show of Canada. We're like the only Canadian team in the UIBL, and we're performing well. You know, we made it to Peace Champ. So yeah, we're like the face of Canada right now, and it's I love to see it. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's just good.
So
It's
right now
fun.
you're averaging 21 and a half points a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 31 minutes a game. I got some of your games right here. The last couple of games, 19, 28, 21, 23, 25, 20, 23, 20, 25, 19, 25, 17, and 12. You're putting this all on 80% free throw percentage. Um, Let me get this up. 3-point percentage. You're shooting it pretty good at 36%. And field goal, you're hitting it at 56%. What are some things, and what ways did you prepare yourself, throughout the year and through your practices before, the circuit started, that you were able to not just be one of the best guys in the circuit for your age, but being able to carry the mantle as one of the top guys for your team right this season?
Uh, I mean, the best way I could say like I prepared for it is like I already knew what was coming. You know what I mean? Like I
Mm.
knew the competition level of the UIBL I played last year, and I knew that I had to get me and my team motivated for UIBL. You know, some of the guys haven't played at this level, so they weren't expecting it. So, but I knew, and some other guys knew on my team. So yeah, it was motivating to know like it was good for me to know that like I knew what was coming, and yeah, so I feel like I adjusted to that and I just played my game, which like is the best thing I could do probably. Just play my game, no, don't overthink anything. You know what I mean? So yeah, just don't overthink, just play my game.
I'm looking at a couple of games you guys won. You beat Team Mello by 17, 93-66. Um, you beat Paul George 83-75. 69-54 against Indy Heat, 57-52 against Team Thad. You're playing most of the top guys, the top teams in at least your guys' division. You beat, oh, never mind. My bad. What has been, I guess the biggest culture shock, I guess would be the best word to put it. Um, I know you've been able to play in the Northeast, but being able to play guys kind of spread out throughout the country. It's not just, one city or one area of the nation. It's these guys are coming from everywhere and you're playing everybody. And club teams too nowadays. I was at the one in Phoenix. Some guys are playing for the teams that are just closest to their city. They're from other places. But what has it been like for you, not just being able to play, some of the best guys in the country, like the Boozer twins and Cooper and all these guys, but just to see what the talent level is like around the rest of the country in your age group.
It's really amazing to see, different levels of basketball in every place. I never would have thought like 3 years ago I would have been playing guys all over the states in UIBL, you know what I'm saying? So it's always it is a pretty big culture shock, and it's crazy to see how much talent there is out there truly, and especially 16U. It's crazy to see.
Yeah, this 2025 class that you're a part of is loaded with guys.
Yeah.
From the trainers you've worked with, though, the coaches you've had in the past back home and have now with you play and with the Phelps, who are some guys they say you play like with your size and your skill already? Is it a little Mikal Bridges like, which I'm sure you've probably heard a couple of times? Who are some guys you try to pick pieces of their game off, emulate off yours? Some people you watch in film.
I mean, I feel like I'll mix it. I feel like I don't really play like anybody specifically. Like I've gotten that like I have a very unique game, unique play
Mm-hmm.
style. But like saying that, like I feel like you can give me comparisons like LaMelo Ball, like a tall guard,
Mm.
a little bit of like Kevin Durant or something, someone like Jason Tatum, something like that. Like, like not I haven't really got a specific comparison, but I've got stuff like that.
Yeah. What was Memphis like this past weekend? You guys played Phenom, Night Riders, and Houston Hoops. Three tough teams with a lot of talent. I know Houston pretty well. Night Riders, I feel like everybody in the world knows who they are right now. What was it like for you? What were some things that stuck out to you that you can hopefully um prepare the rest of your guys' squad for Pete Sham and be able to hopefully take it all even?
We learned a lot that weekend, like it was a hard weekend and a good weekend at the same time, you know what I mean? We had some tough losses, we fought back from losing, so it was a good weekend. We learned a lot, and yeah, we're gonna take out a lot of it at Peach Jam. We learned a lot through it. We practiced a lot, different sets, different ideas, different plays. So yeah, I feel like we're gonna come back way stronger. It wasn't our best weekend, but we're coming back better from it.
That's my bad too. I'm looking at the schedule. That was Dallas's schedule where you played Phenom, Night Riders, and Houston. So that's my bad. but um,
I did play Memphis last weekend, but with my 17U team.
oh,
Yeah.
playing up in that 17U Division Two with all the guys that are going that already got like all these offers and everything. How are you able to adjust to go from maybe not being the number one option for your 17U team?
Yeah, it was a lot different. Bigger guys, stronger guys, like more intelligent players, So it was a lot different, but I adjusted to it and we played well. We won all our games.
One of my last questions before I let you go. You've showed out a lot this year. I know a lot of schools have been interested, especially the last probably 12 weeks. I would say, I don't know, I'd love to hear if there's any more schools or people that have been interested in you. Um, Heading into your junior year, some standout schools. You got Kansas State, UW, Oregon, Seton Hall, and Villanova, just to name a few. When you're thinking about what you can become at the next level, what has gone into your thought process of making sure you pick the right school?
I just gotta pick the school that like has their best interest in me and I can fit their play style. You know what I mean? You gotta remember like some players like to play iso ball, some players like to catch and shoot. I gotta
Right.
go to a school. I gotta go to a school that I know my play style will fit to, and I gotta go to a school where like the environment's well. You know what I mean?
What how would you describe what your play style is like? You're the big guard, very aggressive downhill. You like I can tell being in that mid-range game, shooting at a high percentage at that 56%. But how would you describe your game for people that might not know about you until now?
I mean, I'm a very I could play at a fast pace for my size. I have pretty good footwork and I have a high IQ. I can get down to the basket. I can make the right reads from going down to the basket. I can shoot the ball well from the mid range and the 3-point line. And yeah, I could slash very well. I could dunk pretty well.
Yeah, there's a couple of clips that I saw on your Instagram and some videos you got tagged in of you posterizing some kids, and I was like, this kid's coming from my country. We're in good hands. There's a couple of guys just like him too. Um,
Yeah.
for people that are going to watch you at Peach Jam next year at the Phelps School and the rest of your future, what can people, scouts, and recruiters look forward to seeing in what you are going to bring to the table, especially with this Peach Jam coming up in just a couple of weeks?
Uh, they're gonna see like a guy that's gonna want to win. You know what I mean? I always want to win. Most competitive player out there. I promise that, and I always just try and win. That's just basically, and then it all comes down to winning. Having fun too. But like, I'm just gonna always do everything that I can to try and win.
Well, Will, I appreciate you coming on. Before we get out of here, we end every episode with every question is the same. What's the favorite on court shoe right now? Playing with you play. I know the EYBL care packages are really nice. I've heard it from a lot of people. Did you get the Luca ones when you were in Dallas?
Then
Then who I saw pictures of teams getting them. So I'm like, this is not for everybody.
I didn't get those.
Okay. What's been the favorite on court shoe though throughout this EYBL season?
Probably the Kyrie fly traps.
Mm.
I've always loved them.
What a Kyrie's of course a controversial person, but what about his shoes? I had the Kyrie 2 USAs when I was in high school. But what about his shoes for you makes it so comfortable and able to play your game in those ones?
I don't really like playing in low tops too well, and like they're like a stretchable shoe. You know, I could do all my moves and stuff in those. You know, and they're light. They're super light on my feet, so it just
Mm-hmm.
like wearing a sock.
Well, Will, I appreciate you coming on. Before we get out of here, anything to shout out?
Not really. Thank you though.
Appreciate you, man. Cannot wait to see what you guys do with you play in Team Canada in this upcoming couple of years, and with Pete Sham coming up too. Make sure to watch. But wish you nothing but the best, man, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.